BraveMaker Show is hosted by Tony Gapperstone. Thanks for tuning in. It's showtime.
What is up, BraveMaker people? It is 208, episode 208. My name is Tony Gapperstone, and I am in Redwood City, California. I'm an actor, filmmaker. I have brown hair, Caucasian guy with some yellow glasses, and I'm wearing like a grayish t-shirt in my studio with the words BraveMaker behind me, a pink striped wall, and some green faux. Why do I do that? Because we want to be inclusive to all audiences. Today, I'm so glad that I get to do this show because I get to have a conversation with a friend of mine who we're, so busy, in her words, taking over the world, as she said. When I texted her about trying to catch up, why don't we also do the podcast? She's like, yeah, let's do that. She's got a movie coming out. So we can talk about her movie, but I also can say happy anniversary and all those other fun things. This is Nadine Crocker. Welcome, Nadine.
Hello. Nadine Crocker here, wearing a Kill Bill t-shirt, Harley Davidson jacket, a ton of gold jewelry, and a platinum blonde shixie is what they call it. It's a shag and a pixie.
Oh, I haven't heard that before. That's cool.
Right? I didn't make it up. It's my hairstyle. It's cool lingo.
Did you say shixie or chixie?
Shixie.
Okay.
Shag and pixie put together.
Stylish as always, Nadine Crocker. Nadine, this is not the first time that she's been on the show. So she was on the show like a little over a year ago when her first film, Continue, was coming to the BraveMaker Film Festival in 2022. And I kind of tracked you down because I saw your film at CineQuest. Our films were both there in the virtual festival. I'm like, oh, we have some similar themes. We should talk. We should connect. Liked your film. You came into BraveMaker in July. Then we saw each other in August at CineQuest. Hung out. Your hubs, Anthony, and I connected all in LA. You and I hung out while I was in LA. We've just been texting back and forth over the year, and it's been so fun to watch your life and journey. Now I've got your second freaking feature film coming out into the world. So before that, those who don't know you, why don't you just give a quick little, how did you get into this business? What's the origin story for Nadine Crocker as a filmmaker?
Origin story. So I moved to Los Angeles when I was 16 years old. I dropped out of high school, moved here, went all in on my dreams of living a creative life, and basically worked 1,000 jobs until I was able to actually live on acting and filmmaking and creating. And I feel like without explaining part of my journey, you can't really get to how I got to filmmaking and all of that. But I had many years of struggles with depression and addiction and many levels of that. And I attempted to take my own life when I was 23. And since then, I have become a big mental health advocate. And my first film, Continue, is all about that survival from that attempt. And it was the first story that I was brave enough to write. And I then basically had this burning desire, and I knew that I had to make it. And so I did whatever it took to create that film. I invested my life savings. We literally raised every dime of financing. We produced, I wrote, I directed, I starred in it. My husband Anthony also is in it. Like it was a labor of love from our family. And then, I mean, even like that COVID hit, then we ended up like homeless for it. I mean, it's just like literally we gave everything we've got to that film. And basically through doing that, I realized on my way to my passion, I found my calling. You know, filmmaking is everything to me. It's basically like family filmmaking. So yeah, and from that and basically manifesting Cassian Elway's into my life on my first film, then birthed Desperation Road, because he's who brought me that script originally. And that's the film that I'm promoting right now. Comes out October 6th in theaters, on demand, everywhere. And it was honestly a dream come true to create. I got to work with, I mean, some of my dream like favorite actors and creators. And I mean, that's what like me and you were briefly talking about when we said, hi, okay, well, I see you when we're live. But you know, it hasn't even been a year since we made that film. Like I was just prepping right now last September to make this film. So it just feels really surreal that I'm getting to share it, especially after like my, you know, with everything happening, Continue hasn't got to come out yet because of strikes and all of the things. And like now my second film is beating my first film. And so it's just such a surreal, like, you know, how God works. You're like, all right, I'm on board.
Yeah, that is weird, right? Your first film, Continue, is not available yet, but your second film is coming out. That's wild.
I know.
Why is that? Do you have do you know it's just all these weird things that have prevented it, or what's the deal?
No, well, it took like negotiating distribution and figuring all those things out. And then we had a date, and then the strike hit, and I am the lead in that film. And I have been SAG since like 06 or 07, like most of my career. So it didn't feel right to put that film out or promote it or do any of that while the unions are striking. And then Desperation Road was coming out and like, you know, just moving, and I'm not in that film. And so I'm able to sit here and promote it. And I'm really, really excited about it. You know, so it's crazy how things work out, but it's also divine timing because some pretty magical stuff is happening for Continue, which I can't say yet, but some very magical stuff, and it will be coming out very soon. And it seems like in an even better way than originally planned. So.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, by the way, personally, happy anniversary to you and Anthony. 7 years. I reached out through text, but just saying it publicly because I see you. It's kind of making it more real. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Let's watch the trailer to Desperation Road and then talk about the making of it and all the ins and outs. And by the way, strikes are still happening. WGA and SAG-AFTRA are still on strike. There is negotiations happening today between WGA and AMTPT, PTP. I always miss those letters, but just know that there's some good things hopefully coming. So BraveMaker, Nadine, and we stand with the unions, and we want to see some good things happen. So with that, let's take a listen and a watch. If you're listening on the podcast, you can listen to it. But if you are watching on our YouTube page, please share this so that other people can get to know it. It's coming out October 6th, right, Nadine?
Yes.
In theaters and on demand. So here is the trailer to Desperation Road.
What are you doing?
Going back to my room. I didn't do nothing.
Y'all never do.
What are you doing?
Welcome home. What happened to your face? This little going away present from the boys. They let you out early. You ain't out of my reach, boy.
You're being awful hard on yourself. We can be forgiven.
What's going on here?
Ain't no point in keeping it a secret. One of our own shot with his own pistol, which we can't seem to find.
I want to stick with you, and if we're going to stay together, we have to go right now.
Don't move. Get in the truck. Turn on the car and drive.
Oh, I think I'll hold on to that. This ain't your gun.
Just give it back to me.
I will. And you tell me who it belongs to you.
I shot him until he wasn't moving no more.
I know a place you can go. Somewhere safe. I'm going to trust you. You're going to have to trust me.
What the hell is going on?
Need that old place. I'll explain everything later.
All right, I got your back.
A woman came into the shelter, a little girl. Now, the lady working there said she found a pistol on her before she took off running. I just need to know if Russell stayed here with you the night before last.
As far as I know, he was here.
We got one brother dead. I ain't looking to be another.
Seems like you and I were tied together by some sort of invisible rope.
Just do the best you can for right now. You don't worry about tomorrow until it comes.
David, somebody help us!
Life's a whirlwind. We're all caught up in it.
Directed by Nadine Crocker. Come on.
I
All
still
right.
get chills every time I see it. You
As
know?
should. Totally. Kind of fun, as you're in the virtual backstage. It's fun because I can see, you're watching your trailer, like that little kid in the candy shop type of vibe. It's great. You made a second feature film and it's coming out into the world. It's huge. Okay, so let's talk about it. There's so many layers to making a feature film. So let's start high level. Just the beginnings of this film. When you were on the show with us a year ago, you had the script, you were working on cast. It seems like at that point you had some money, but you weren't even sure. Like I remember at one point we were texting and I was like rooting you on, praying for you, da da da. And you're like, well, we'll find out in a week if it's yay or nay. It could be totally dead in the water, or it could be. Were you in Kentucky or where'd you film? I forget.
Kentucky, yeah.
Kentucky. I remember you're like, I could be in Kentucky next week, or I could be, hunting for my next gig. It was like that strenuous.
No, yeah.
Yeah, for real. So talk about all of the ins and outs of getting this to where it is today.
All the ins and outs. I know, like, isn't it funny how you're like, it all feels like a blur now? No, so yeah, Cassian brought me this script originally. And when I read the script, I was really blown away by the potential of what I knew the film could be. And it was based on a novel, Desperation Road, and yeah, me and the writer Michael Ferris Smith were just like had an amazing connection. And from the second we met and started to work together, he was just so collaborative and like so open to all of my notes and everything that was like really important to me in this story. And so we went on the journey of like perfecting the script and getting it to where we knew it needed to be, and embodying some of those things that were really important to me, like the mother relationship and or like the relationship with Larry, who is played by Ryan Hurst, and him being like my mental health character and all of the things. So from there, Cassian always laughs like when I tell this story, because I had told him so many times how much I love Garrett Hedlund, and I had written like 3 roles for him that I wanted to work with him. And so as soon as I read it, I was like, who I think would be amazing for Russell in the film? And he just like laughed and said, let me guess Garrett Hedlund. Yeah. And so Garrett was the first person that we went to, and it was basically like a dream come true. It happened so fast and so organically that it kind of was so surreal to me. You know, normally when you give a script to an actor, it's like, all right, see you in 3 months. You know, it's like, who knows how long it's going to take because people are working and all of the things. But because it was Christmas at this time, I think he had like a little moment. And so he read it really fast. He watched my film continue really fast. And it was like the day after Christmas, they were like, you know, can you meet him? And so I was like, I'll meet him today, tomorrow, like literally name any day. And, you know, when you just like meet those souls that you're like, oh, wow. I mean, I always knew, like Anthony talks about it all the time. I always knew I was meant to work with him. Like I had said it so many times. And from the moment we met, it was really just like a deep friendship and just belief and support. And it was truly incredible. And Garrett got behind this film and was our champion and our cheerleader and did everything he possibly could to help, you know, and then Mel Gibson was the next big task, you know, finding the right father and starting the search for Maven, which is like our female lead, and, you know, like finding who was the perfect person. You know, it was so crazy how it all kind of happened. And it was very, you know, like I hate to use the word organic, but it just kept unfolding. Like that's the only way to say it, is like, you know, Mel was suggested to us. Mel read the script. Me and Michael Farrah-Smith had a meeting with Mel, and it was just, he is such an incredible person and he's so open, and, you know, he asks great questions, and it just all started moving really quickly once Mel came on board. And then, yeah, I mean, Willa came to me, Willa Fitzgerald, who plays Maven.
She's great, by the way. I have not seen this version, but I saw 1 or 2 versions, so I know the film. So when I speak about it on this podcast, it's because I have seen it, but I haven't seen like the finished version.
I know.
So,
I know.
yeah,
You were one of the first people I was like, all right, I'm pretty close to a director's cut. Give me your guidance. I need to cut a few more minutes. Anything you think can go. And like, thank God. I mean, that's the other thing. When you were giving me the intro, I just felt like, wait a minute. I have to speak to you and our friendship, first of all. Just that you have been such an incredible support for me. And like, it's just one of those things where like the universe put us together. And it was just like, from the second I found you, I was like, oh my God, like, thank you. I'm so grateful. And it's just like, you know, the way that you have supported me and we've been able to support each other. And like, you know, and again, I just have to say this while I have this platform for a moment to say BraveMaker was one of my favorite festivals I've ever been to. One of my favorite experiences. It's just like a family coming together, and all of these people who care so much about their art and film. And it was just like so exciting. I mean, me and Anthony literally talk about it. I'm like, I mean, how many more films do you think I have to like do before Tony's like, hey, come speak or come do that? I'm like, I just want to go back. Like,
come on.
So I am going to be there next year. That's all I can say.
You heard it. Hey, I'm writing this down. Amy on the other side, our producer, I need a quote right now that says, I'm going to be there next year, 2024, Nadine Crocker.
Done and done. I'm there. I mean, honestly, we loved the experience. It was just so special, you know, and it felt so accepting, you know. Sorry to segue from what we were talking about, but truthfully, like after each panel, I just felt so inspired and excited. And it can be nerve-wracking when you're going up to speak somewhere. I am not a public speaking person. Like even like this is almost a little better because you're like, I'm in my bedroom. Like when there's a bunch of people staring back at you, you're like, oh my God. But it was just so warm there. You know,
love to hear that.
I had to say that it was such a special experience. And you've been such a big part of my life. And like my next projects I'm doing are all thanks to you. Honestly, we'll get there. I'll get to talk about that because I have to like brag about how Tony changed my entire life.
So just to speak on that, I think it's a great reminder that, you know, film is so hard. Like we need people to root us on, and I haven't always felt that in the community of filmmakers, because there is a sense of like scarcity and people want to hoard their connections, right? It's like, well, if I give you this connection, what if they leave me in the dust? And that could feel like that, right? But I remember, you know, this mutual connection. I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, so let me back up. Garrett Hedlund, I was swept up into the premiere of his film Burden at, I forget, like it's a blur, but I think it was 2019. Yeah, it was 2019.
Well, it came out during the pandemic, Burden.
Okay, so it was 2018 then. It was 2018 Sundance, and then it came out. Oh, I don't even know.
No, it would have been 2019 January, because it came out 2020 was the pandemic, right?
Yes, 2020 was the pandemic.
So like, don't quote me, but
yeah.
So I think it probably was Sundance 2019.
I don't know if it happened that fast, because I remember we screened Burden 2019 or 2020 February. You're right. So it was 2019 of Sundance in January of 2019. Then a whole year later, Burden was screened in Redwood City as a special screening at BraveMaker in February of 2020, and then the pandemic hit in March. That was our last public screening. And the reason why I had connected with the people who made Burden is my friend was an agent for one of the actresses in Burden, and I was like in the very front row of their screening at freaking Sundance. And there's Garrett, there's Crystal Fox, this other actress is amazing. Yeah, Andrea Riseborough.
I love her.
I was in like the green room with Usher, with Forrest Whitaker. Like, I'm like, what am I doing in this green room? It's because my friend was representing Crystal. So it was so cool. And right now, Crystal, you can't hear it, or those of you who are listening to the podcast can't see it, but there's a YouTube link that I just posted that says actress Crystal Fox reacts at Sundance 2018 to the film Burden, and she's raving about Garrett Hedlund. She's raving about his performance as a real life guy named Mike Burden. So cool. So then to have this kind of full circle moment where he's in your film now, it's kind of like, what? So let me just thread that needle and I'll throw it back to you. We need to encourage each other along the way as filmmakers, and we need to leverage whatever resources we have. I have friends in big places who I go, sometimes I'll ask for help and I don't get it. I'm like, okay, it just whatever. You can't open the door for me now. That's okay. But I'm like, I'm going to try to open every door I can for anybody, because we're only going to rise together if we help other people rise. And your connections that you're making now because of an introduction will somehow benefit BraveMaker, benefit me. I have to believe that. Like, that's how we have to live. 100%. Otherwise,
I'm already mentoring people, like some of my friends that have always wanted to write a screenplay, and like all of these different things. Like, it's that pay it forward, which, I mean, you are one of the people who have taught me that the most. It's like, you are so giving and you're so supportive. And like, again, you had no reason to track me down and ask me to come to your festival other than you are who you are, which is an incredible human being who's extremely supportive of other creators, so I feel so grateful. But I do want to tell the story of like what you did, but are we skipping forward too much?
Well, let's finish Desperation Road. So okay, so you're working with Garrett, and he is an amazing actor. Like, I've followed his work, and there's something really special about what he does and who he is. And so, and even in this film, he and Willa, like their dynamic is so wow. But you got Mel Gibson, and Mel Gibson is obviously this iconic actor. Passion of the Christ, Lethal Weapon, all these,
Now, like,
yeah. And what's the other
actor in that movie? And like, I mean, it's insane. Like,
Braveheart. By the way, sometimes people will call BraveMaker Braveheart, and I just kind of chuckle. I could have somebody write a check for Braveheart one day. Yeah. So let's get this out of the way, because there is a lot of buzz around Mel Gibson as a person, as a human being who's made some mistakes in the past and had some publicity, bad press. You had a really cool response when I asked you that. Can you just kind of share like how you respond to that question? Because it comes like, how do you handle all that stuff that comes with casting Mel Gibson?
Well, I mean, I'd reword that even to the fact, like, I'm so lucky that I got to cast Mel Gibson and that he chose me to believe in, because let's not forget, like, films are nothing without financing, and we get our financing through the incredible teams that we assemble. And he believed in me, and he was a huge part of how we even put this film together. And so I would speak to that in the sense also of like how lucky I am. And working with him, he was never in his trailer. He was always there. He was always there rooting us on. He was always there joking and just like telling stories. And, you know, before we even went into production, he and I and like his creative team went out to dinner, and we were there for almost 4 hours. And like, you know, he just is an incredibly giving person. And, you know, and so I guess like what I would say to that too is like, you know, if referencing, you know, the things that he's been through or whatever else is, you know, I touched a little bit on my story previously and about, you know, my own struggles and all of that. And all I can really speak to is the person that I know him as. And he is an incredible person. He is an incredibly supportive, you know, I'll be 8 years sober on October 4th, and he is over 16 years sober. And so, you know, even in that regard, when I know how many people, I don't even know that he knows this, but I've heard him speak before, you know, like I know how many people's lives he's saved. I know how many people he's helped. So, you know, I guess I would just speak to, I hope that we all are forgiven for mistakes that we make when we're not, you know, maybe living to who we truly are. You know, who would I be if my family and the people who are closest to me didn't give me a second chance, like, you know, when I got sober, and or like after I tried to attempt to take my own life, you know. And the beautiful thing is that we can change. Like, I'm living proof of that. You know, I'm a mother, I'm all of these things, and I feel so incredible to be here today. And, you know, so again, I go back to like, we all have the power to change. We all have the power to do incredibly amazing things in this world. And, you know, all I can say personally is that Mel has been an incredible person in my life, and he has been extremely supportive, and he was one of the best actors to work with. And, you know, he's a great human being.
Love that. That is a well said and beautiful response, and encapsulates really the heart behind the film. So, you know, in wrapping up just your making of this film, what can people expect when, obviously we showed the trailer, but this is a film about redemption. I mean, or hope, right? It's a desperation road that leads somewhere. That is encapsulating your desire and your filmmaking from Continue to this. So what would you say as you kind of like wrap up this whole, you know, second feature film of yours? What's the hope for the world as they see it?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the story is truly about redemption, you know, that we all have the power to change, right? That we can all forgive ourselves, right? We don't have to be known for our greatest mistake, but we can be known for our greatest act of kindness, you know? And I say that in regards to like Russell, Garrett's character, was just coming out of prison for taking someone's life, you know, and was really down on himself and all of those things. And yet he helps someone, and he helps this mother who was desperately trying to provide for her child. And, you know, and so I guess the truth is like, we're all connected, you know, and we all have the power to help another being, and we all have the power to change our lives and to, you know, be forgiven. And essentially this is a story about redemption, forgiveness, and how we are all connected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Awesome. I guess last thing too.
It's a fun ride in between all of that beauty.
Yeah, and you know, like so beautifully shot. Like, you know, the cinematography is so it's kind of like breathtaking. You know, you got to go to Kentucky to film it, and make sure you see all the behind the scenes. Nadine's got a ton of photos on her Insta at Nadine Crocker, which is her her handle, but just so like night day shots, and the acting, like I said, is so cool. And I think too, as a a person who cares about the treatment of women, it is a story that has some very strong themes. It is rated R, so be aware of those factors. If that is something that is triggering to you, still go watch and support. But it's a reminder the complexity of how someone gets out of abusive situations and how it impacts somebody. And sometimes the redemptor, or the redeemer is the word, isn't always who you expect. And it's kind of cool. Yeah, I like that part of the film and the story. So yeah, I'm gonna go see it in the theater to support you. So
thank you.
Yeah. So
I can't wait.
So October 6th, everybody, please go and see Desperation Road. So this basically like a day and date, meaning it's going to be available VOD. People can watch it from home or see it in the theater right away. Yep. Okay, cool.
And it's going to a good amount of theaters, so it'll be a lot of places. Which
go see it in the theaters, everybody. Support the cinema and see this on the big screen.
And indie films, because like something I didn't touch on that I feel like I should also mention, because we got halfway through the story of making it, and I guess I didn't mention that this movie was made in 16 days. It's as indie as it gets. Like, we all had to work so hard to create this beautiful film, and the performances are going to blow you away. Like, I am so proud of what we all created together, and 16 days, so you got to support indies and filmmakers, and go see it in theater.
I guess my one last question about this is, again, the complexity of our industry, right? You have to be optimistic, delusionally optimistic to survive in this industry. But again, we have strikes happening, box office reports are like, unless you're Barbie or Oppenheimer, everything else is, poo-pooed, right? How are you processing this right now as an indie filmmaker, 2023? How are you making it through? How are you keeping your head above water in this space?
It's a good question. I mean, honestly, with an incredible team behind me, I have amazing managers and publicists and team at Lionsgate. I mean, honestly, Lionsgate's team, like, they've become so close. We have several other things that we're now working on together, and it's just like, they've been amazing, in a really weird time. I mean, the most depressing thing to me is that I'm here today with a labor of love about to come out on October 6th. I mean, it is only possible because all of my actors basically like buckled in, and we're like, all right, 16 days, let's go, and it's like, it feels really sad to be here without all of them, shouting from the rooftops with me. So that's been hard, but I'm just thank my lucky stars for the opportunity, and that we were able to make this film, and in a film that I hope people connect with, and that I hope inspires. And like, this about me, but I tend to I'm very, very picky about my process of what films I'll attach to, because message and or impact is like one of the most important things to me, and so when I do attach, I put my whole being into my projects, and basically didn't sleep for months to make this movie, forgot to eat since, it's just like, had to be away from my family. It's, the entire process is a really hard process as filmmakers. Like, I think people don't understand. They see what the Hollywood version and think it's like glamorous and it's this. It's like, oh my God, I came back aged 10 years. My face, at least, it was just like, I mean, it was like returning from war, and that's what each production is. It's like it's a battle for your vision and for your art and for this creation that you guys want to make together. And like, did you pull it off? Like, that's always the big fear, So I go into the October 6th with the utmost gratitude and love, and just, I really hope people connect with it. It's scary. It's like a scary moment, like when the critics are gonna this and that, and it's like, it's hard to please everybody, but as filmmakers, like, I'll just say, we have to all stay true to our mission and our vision, and just know that like at the end of the day, we made our movie, and that's the best thing we can do. Like where everything else is out of your hands, you know. I have no idea who or well, you know, some people will like it, some don't, but like at the end of the day, like we did our best, and I'm so proud.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear you saying if you are proud and confident of your work, that is the most satisfying thing. Now, you want people to love it, you want people to see it, but you worked your butt off for this film, and you're proud of the people who did it with you. That's art right there. That's beautiful. So yeah, be inspired, BraveMaker community. Keep going after your dreams and thinking about right now, like if you want to have a film that's out, you did it quick, 16 days and a year. Like that's unheard of. I did my feature in 13. It took a year and a half, and I thought that was challenging. It's like you got to start now. If you want to have a film out in 2 years, like what are you doing now? Write that film, get that connection, build that team, find that support, find those producers, find that funding. It's a journey that takes a lot of time, and you got to think through it and plan that out. So,
and also there's always going to be excuse not like why not to do it. Like, oh, when I get a little bit more of this, or oh, when I have more, just sit down and do it. Like you can do it. Like, and the one thing I want to say, because I know there's filmmakers, like BraveMaker has like incredible filmmakers. Like I'm going to say something that I don't always bring to attention, but 5 years ago I was serving tables. Like we can freaking do it. I'm trying to watch my language, but you can do it. You know, you just blind faith and naivety, I guess. Like we just have to believe we can and never give up.
Yeah, that's that secret. I think I bring this up all the time. I heard Kevin Bacon say the only secret to success in this industry is just perseverance. You just got to keep going. Wins and loses, you know, critics, you know, highs and lows. Just keep going. Just keep going. Keep making. Keep moving forward. And if you got, I mean, I work 3 other jobs. You know, you got to do it. You got to figure out how to make it work. Go after your dreams. Yeah. All right. Well, what's next? You've got some. What can you talk about? What can you not talk about? What are you excited about? You've got some cool partnerships and things you want to share that you're allowed to. Please do.
Yeah. I'm really, really excited. We were trying to already be on shooting my 3rd film, which is called Vanished, that Robbie Brenner and Mark Forster are producing, and I am directing, and I like still kind of want to cry as I say it, because like, you know, so this is the story we were waiting to talk about, but I am a big manifester. I put missions and people and, you know, Post-its across my house, and I had Robbie Brenner on my Post-its and on my walls and on my mirrors and like all kinds of things for a while. Just like, that's a warrior woman that I want to know in even the like slightest way. And I had mentioned that to Tony, and he didn't really like say much about it. He just like had his beautiful little Tony smile. And then I got home and saw an email, and Tony, I like getting super emotional. I don't know why, because I guess it's because like people don't always like help each other, you know? And Tony connected me with Robbie, and that was like a dream come true, because she really helped me through making Desperation Road. It was a really challenging production. We had no time, no money, no all of the things. And with her mentorship, like I didn't just get through that production, I thrived, and you know, and so did a beautiful relationship and friendship, and she's become like my mentor, and I feel so incredibly lucky. And then you know, and then not too long ago she offered me a film, and then now we have multiple projects going together, which I'm like thanking my lucky stars. And amazing. I know. So it's been like a really beautiful process, and this friendship that came because of you. So incredible. And again, like this is why you have to be brave in speaking your manifestations and your biggest dreams out loud, because like had I not like done that, you would have never connected me. Like how would you have known that like I had been trying to manifest her, you know? And like what's funny is I'll go to her parties or like her little things now, and people are like, oh, how do you know Robbie? And I'm like, oh, I manifested her. That's it. And then I leave it there. They're like, okay.
Yeah.
No,
That's so LA. So
I know.
So if you don't know who Robbie Brenner is, she is a Oscar-nominated producer of Dallas Buyers Club, but she's also one of the producers of Hello, Barbie. So that's a pretty big deal.
I went and saw that movie 5 times, just like, what? Oh my God. So proud of her.
And I only know her because of BraveMaker. We had her film Burden here. She actually sat in not this office, but my office right across the hall. We did a podcast together. We went out to dinner, and that's like just because I pursued that film. I pursued them bringing it here and showing it with our BraveMaker audiences, and obviously just stayed in touch. And nothing huge ever became of that. But it's like you stay friendly with somebody, and you have that contact, and then somebody else comes in. And you go, oh, wait, I can leverage what little I have, to make a connection and see where that goes. And then something beautiful can become of that. So, be generous, y'all. Be generous with your time and your people and your money and your relationships. It's important.
But I'll speak to that too. Like, the other thing I want to encourage people is like being utterly and completely yourself, like being vulnerable, like putting yourself out there. Like, mind you, you introduced me to Robbie, but I had the bravery to go, oh my God, I respect, I sent her a love letter essentially. And like, it's I do that with every cast member, by the way, too. Like, people have like joked about my love letters I send, but that's what I did for Mel, for Garrett, for all of it. I basically put all of my heart and who I am out there. And I'm like, this is me, and no one will ever care more than I do. And like, if you give me this opportunity to, do this with you and blah, blah, blah. So long story short, like, don't be afraid to be yourself. Like, what is unique about all of us is what makes our voice unique and special, and what makes our film special, and all of those things, so you can play it cool, but then I wouldn't have all these incredible friendships that I have today. I'm so glad that I'm not cool, so I just be me.
Yeah. So risk, right? Because she could have said no. She could have said, that's nice, sweet letter, bye, I'm busy, I'm doing Barbie, which is going to be $1 billion movie. But she didn't. And, that's not always the case, though. Some people are busy.
Believe me, I've been blown off by a lot of people, too.
Yeah, exactly. And in reality, in some ways, someday we're going to have to blow people off, too. Because it just is like, you can't do it all. The time has to be right. You have to find that right connection. And I'm a person who believes, in faith and in destinies, and the right intersections come when they're supposed to come. Mine sometimes feels like it's been coming a long time. It's been a long time coming. I'm waiting a long time. But when it's right, it's right. And you have to just bank on that. If you get a no or a ghost or a silence or a nothing or a no, it's like, all right, move on to the next one. Keep moving forward. Believe in yourself. Bet on yourself.
And this is the one thing I'll say about that too, is like, I talk about this to everyone I possibly can. Every single no I've ever got, every single hardship I've ever gone to, I now, looking at it, understand completely why it went that way. And if that no hadn't happened and this and that, like, I use this as an example to people all the time. Had I gotten into Sundance, right, with Continue, or like, had I done, and I hadn't gone to the festivals or whatever, if anything had gone differently, I would have never met you. Yeah. I would have never then met Robbie. I would have never, there are so many things that are so beyond our understanding that all you can do is like buckle up, go on the ride, and you're gonna understand it. You just got to keep it moving. It's that Steve Jobs quote I love. You can't connect the dots looking forward, only looking back. So keep moving. And like, when you get to the end of the road, or when you get to this next thing, you're going to understand why you got that no and that no and that no, because that led to that yes that you were waiting for so long, So you never know where a closed door is going to lead you.
That's awesome. Well said, my friend. Very happy for you. Very, very happy. October 6th, Desperation Road. And this is the second of many feature films by Nadine Crocker. And BraveMaker is there to support. And you heard it here in episode 208. Nadine Crocker will be at the July 2024 Film Festival for BraveMaker, pending she's on set somewhere in the world. So we won't hold
if I'm
you
not
to
on
it.
set, I am there.
Okay. Awesome. All right, everybody. All right, everybody, don't go away. It is time for our Brave Faves.
Brave Faves. TV shows, films, books, songs, technology, clothing, podcast, food, and more. These are a few of our favorite people, places, and things. Brave Faves.
Okay, my favorite thing of the week comes from Hulu, which is a Sundance, speaking of Sundance, a Sundance movie that I did not get a chance to see at Sundance, but I watched with my whole family right from our living room on Hulu. It's called Theater Camp. It's kind of like that mockumentary style film about a summer camp for kids, high school and middle school. It's got a great cast of people. Ben Platt, who everybody knows from Broadway. He is such a fun presence. His husband, Noah Galvin, is in here. And the whole story is about the arts and keeping it alive in a camp that's going to go under because they don't have enough funding, which every arts organization understands. So maybe hit a little too personally, wipe away those tears. No, it's super fun, super funny, and very entertaining. And my kids loved it. So great for the whole family. Nadine, what is your Brave Fave for the week?
I have a podcast I've been listening to very religiously. It's two of my really close friends. It's Broad Ideas by Olivia Allen and Rachel Bilson. And honestly, I have just been binging their episodes because they have huge and incredible guests on their podcast. But what I love is that every episode is deeply emotional, and it really, they might be on there promoting something. They really don't talk about it whatsoever. They talk about life. They talk about profound and beautiful things, trauma, spirituality, sex. I mean, you name it. So I that's my Brave Fave for sure. I have been binging all of these episodes, and I actually just recorded an episode with both of them, and I love them. They're two of my really close friends, so it was actually kind of it's the same as this, where you're like, oh my God, I'm just going on and basically chit-chatting with my friends. So so I'm excited about that, but more so just their episodes have been really great to listen to and motivating and exciting.
I dig it. Broad Ideas. I like a title that has a double meaning. That's good. Podcasts are a good thing. Get those in your ears, be inspired. I swear that is my film school. It's my life school. I listen to seriously so many podcasts and get so many ideas and inspiration because hearing stories. That's why I have a podcast for 208 episodes, because stories change us, right? That's why we do this. So Nadine, do not go away. Everybody else, thank you so much for being a part of the BraveMaker community. You know that we cannot do this without your help and support. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization that really only has 33 people. That's it. 33 people that give a monthly donation every month. We have occasionally we get one-time grants and corporate sponsors that help us do things like our film festival. This year, did not get a presenting sponsor. We had more sponsorship through pandemic than we did in 2023. I don't understand it, but we somehow are continuing to be here because perseverance and resolve. That's what creative people have to do to make it work. Right? There's so many excuses to make me want to quit, to have BraveMaker go away, but I refuse because I know BraveMaker, the world needs BraveMaker, and I'll continue to put my blood, sweat, and tears into it. So if you want to put money and blood, sweat, and tears into it, you can go to bravemaker.com/donate and contribute today, or use your phone. Just text the word BraveMaker, boop, 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 to 44321. That's 44321. Text the word BraveMaker. It's one word, BraveMaker, and you'll get a link right to your phone. And you can help us do things like not only pay for our streaming platform that we do this podcast every week, or our gear, or our rent, or help us with our insurance. We're making short films and feature films. Our next short film is in production this weekend, SAG-approved, low budget. We're doing a biopic story about Globetrotters with a bunch of the guys who are on HBO's Winning Time show that unfortunately just got canceled. Boo, but the showrunner of HBO's Winning Time helped make us give us the support to make this film. The writer of the book called Showtime that became Winning Time helped support us to make this film. We've got a lot of the actors who are in the Winning Time show, so your contributions to BraveMaker help us do this work. It starts as a short, and it's going to become a feature. That's the goal. So BraveMaker.com/donate. You can help us make movies, make a film festival, and change the world by elevating brave stories for justice, diversity, and inclusion. Next week, episode 209, I have another filmmaker, another CineQuest filmmaker, which both Nadine and I are. So join me every Thursday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard. All right, Nadine, tell the people where they can find you one more time and anything else you want to say for following on your social.
Yeah, Instagram at Nadine Crocker. I will be posting lots of behind the scenes and clips to come in the next couple weeks. And please go see Desperation Road in theater October 6th and on demand everywhere. And really just, I hope you enjoy it.
Yes. All right, my friend, do not go away. We'll chat a few minutes after. But everybody else, thanks for watching episode 208 or listening. Spread the word. Brave stories change the world, and you are the story. Bye, everybody.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at BraveMaker.org. Like, subscribe, and share. To become a monthly donor, text the word BraveMaker to 44321 or go to bravemaker.com/donate. Thanks for tuning in.